Hey guys, it's Mario here, and I have a very special guest for you guys today. His name is Julien Blanc. He's one of my friends and one of my clients, and a guy who I highly respect. He's one of the smartest guys in the field of personal development and general coaching, helping guys transform their lives. Welcome, Julien. Great to have you here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Can you give a little bit of an intro? What have you been up to for the last couple of years?
Yeah. I mean, for me, this all started literally 10 years ago. Like in 2 weeks on my birthday, that'll be like officially 10 years when I got into this whole realm of working on yourself. I started out with success with women. I was an extremely shy guy. I have videos about this where I talk about I couldn't even go up to an old lady and ask for the time. I had anxiety, like social anxiety, just sitting at dinner with my family. Like I'm like, oh, do I have to talk at the dinner table? Like scared shitless. Worked on myself. Moved to Los Angeles. I'm originally from Switzerland, and started teaching this. I joined a company called Real Social Dynamics, and I started traveling around the world, doing personalized coaching, giving seminars. Literally, like 4 world tours. This is my 5th world tour right now.
Wow.
Yeah, almost 10 years now. So this is my life. Like every week I go to a new city.
Awesome.
People come in, people come out, and right now what I am working on is actually a new product. I'm doing a new tour that's expanding beyond just success with women. That kind of examines like the different paradigms that we live in. Because what I notice is, you can get out. It's like say you're a guy who's like shy. It's like okay, you can work on yourself, but you never really reach that permanence that you want. And that really comes to kind of taking a step back, examining what it is, for example, you're running away from, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of subconscious work, goes really deep, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Yeah, it ties really deep into psychology and some stuff that we're all passionate about, and kind of like why is it always empty? Why do we want to fill up the void and things like that, which we're gonna talk a little bit about here. As I said, Julian's one of the smartest guys I know. He's helped me a lot on my own journey of personal development, becoming the best version of myself, and I can definitely say that you should follow his stuff on his channel. It's all going to be linked in the description below for you guys that are looking for expanding your reality, right? It's going to expand your reality in such a broad direction that you're going to be like, okay, what have I been missing so far? Yeah, earlier this year we done a video for your channel which documented your transformation. So he went through a huge transformation. So Julian here was a little bit overweight. I'm going to put a picture in. So he was very overweight, and we basically nuked down all the fat. You got pretty ripped, right, in that whole process, and that still continues, right? You're still doing you're still hitting it really hard. I mean, you're progressing in weights. You're keeping track of your diet, right? I mean, you're still doing all the habits.
Them gains.
Right. So what I wanted to bring you here on is that you have a really interesting perspective on things such as happiness and things like that directly influence us on our day-to-day behaviors. Because I mean, journey of fitness is just one way to improve yourself, but it's still a critical factor. So, what are your thoughts on? I mean, just starting to take care of this area of your life, what do you feel like kind of inspired you to do so? And what would you say that is kind of the biggest barrier that you see a lot of people? Why aren't they not doing this? Because we know that it should happen for a lot of people. Why are we not doing this? Why are we not taking care of ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's like 2 things. The first one is that we're in a society of like escapism. Like that's really the way we live. Like we're constantly running away from something, running towards something else. And you can apply this to just many layers, like running away from yourself. It's like if you're watching this, when's the last time you sat down with yourself and just did nothing? You didn't distract yourself, even just daydreaming. It's like you just sat there and was with yourself, and you kind of realize like, fuck, like never. You get home after work immediately, you put on a YouTube video, you surf the web, you watch TV. If you're waiting for an appointment, you're on your cell phone. It's like we're constantly distracting ourselves. I remember even me, like this is like 2 months ago, I had like an hour free, like just randomly. It's like, whoa, like an hour free. And immediately I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do during this hour so I don't just end up alone with myself? So we do that on that level there, but we also do it whenever we experience anything that's kind of unpleasant, like we're stressed, we feel sad. It's like we try to numb ourselves. We're constantly trying to escape those emotions. And, the common ways, you hear, okay, like drugs, sex, cigarettes, drinking, so on and so forth. But an even more common one is food. It's like for me, that was my go-to. It's like whenever I felt shitty, I would just eat. And I was like, comfort food. I was like, oh my God, it's like it was my escape. It's like you just want to numb it with the food. And even if you look at how I put on the weight, a lot of the weight that I put on came on after this media scandal that I went through, was like extremely emotionally traumatizing. And the way I kind of survived that, because I'm not a big, like drinker and I never do drugs, so I'm just like eat, 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 you know, and it's hard to drop it. It's like you don't want to drop it because that's your form of like medication. That's your form of escape. So I'd say that's a big one. And another one is we're not, like, at least for me, I was not conditioned to buy into the self concept of someone who's healthy. And that's kind of big. It's like we have this self concept, this identity that we take on, what we think we deserve, so on and so forth. And for me, it was always the destructive artist, like self destructive artist. And for that person there, that identity, it didn't make sense for that person to be on top of his shit and be healthy.
Yeah.
So I'd get a little healthy, like consciously. I'm like, oh yeah, let's lose weight, and I do like these little sprints. But after like 2-3 weeks, or sometimes like with a lot of willpower, 2-3 months, something would just pull me back because it wasn't aligned with that identity. And there was a part of me too that, I mean, this is kind of funny, that kind of wanted to rebel against being healthy. It's like I don't want to be like the good kid, like the little good kid. I want to be, fuck it, like the self-destructive artist type thing. So I'd say those would be like two big ones. But that escapism's huge. And if you want to even go deeper with that, and this is something actually that yoga, funny enough, helped me a lot with, learning how to be in your body and experience and feel your body fully. Because that too is like we're always escaping. And here's another layer of escapism. We're escaping our body by living in our minds. And if you were present enough in your body to, see what the fuck's going on in there, you would actually feel the full effect of the food that you're eating. So right now, and I'm still working on this, but more and more, I'm just naturally inspired to eat healthy. And it's not because of willpower. It's not like, okay, you'll have your cheat day on X day. It's like, eat healthy, although that's an awesome
Yeah.
tool. I mean, I use that for a long period of time. It's just that now when I eat something unhealthy, because I'm more present in my body, like, you'll have the little taste, little instant high, but then right after that, you kind of feel it. Like, see, you eat McDonald's, you're like, you feel like you drag down and heavy. You're like, oh, it doesn't have like this energizing impact. If you eat something healthy, if you stay with it past just the initial taste, you kind of feel energized after. So being in your body and just out of your head will help a lot. Because if you're just in your head, all you experience is the little taste. And then you just escape those emotions with, say, even more food and more food. And it's like people can end up like they eat so much, it's like at the end of dinner, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of on those aspects. I mean, those are some interesting things I've kind
Very,
of
very
realized.
deep, very interesting. It's kind of like developing that, I guess, even borderline behavior addiction. So it's not like a substance addiction, it's a behavior addiction. So people always like say, oh, sugar is addictive. It's not a
Yeah.
substance type of addiction, it's behavior type of addiction where you're emotionally investing and investing deeper and deeper and getting into it. And I really love that you mentioned there that you stand in line in a grocery shop or something like that, and for 2 minutes you have 2 minutes before the person in front of you checks out, and you check your phone. Like you need something, you need like
Yeah.
something to fill that void. Like you're in an airport and it's like, okay, I have 30 seconds before my Wi-Fi run out, as we're going to the plane. I have to do something.
Yeah, like I'll catch myself like even on a plane, like I make it a rule for myself never to connect to the plane Wi-Fi, even if there is Wi-Fi. But even then, it's like multiple times I'll be pulling out my phone and like doing the unlock, and I'm like, oh, there's no reception Wi-Fi, just out of habit. What am I doing? Or sometimes like you'll catch yourself just get lost, like especially if you're tired, at night. It's like, oh, you'll scroll through something, and then the time flies by, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Just like going through something because it's better than nothing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. What I read just recently was very fascinating. Is that this author, he bought a plane ticket to Tokyo and back just to write his book because there was no Wi-Fi in the airplane. So he puts himself in a position where he has to be isolated and work on his book. It's something really fascinating. I read it in Cal Newport's book Deep Work, which it kind of expands on the whole idea of how do you need focus time and how you need actually play time. So one thing that I really want to hammer on a little bit with you here is that whole emotional eating aspect of it, right? And
yeah.
it almost feels like we're in one way we take a step forward, and if that self-image is not changed, it's such a strong pullback, and we see this happen all the time. I think weight regain is such a common thing because people don't accept that the fact that they're just this new person now. Like you're new, right? And how did you? I guess how long did it take for you to kind of embrace that stuff is changing and kind of embrace the new habits? How long did it take that? And kind of can you expand on that a little bit? Your process of these few
Yeah,
months.
I can go deep here because I mean this applies to like getting in shape, but really all aspects of life, and it kind of links to literally what I'm working on now. So basically, the way I view it is there's like level one, level two. So there's always thinking like level one, level two. Ground zero is where most of us are at, where we're just like in this constant state of escapism. We're unconscious. We don't know what the fuck's going on. We feel like shit. We're anxious all the time. That was me. When I started out before getting into success with women, I was just like constantly anxious like shit. Say in the weight world, this is you extremely unhealthy and you're just eating and you're just in this cycle of, eating unhealthy, being unhealthy. Everyone you know is unhealthy. Everything is reinforcing, keep, escaping, keep being unhealthy, etc. So you kind of find out about, hey, I can work on this and, either become more confident, become more successful, be healthy, et cetera, et cetera. And that's trying to reach level one. The first step is, start going to the gym, et cetera, using willpower, focusing on hustle, developing different habits, et cetera, et cetera. And that's far better than just doing nothing. However, you're really not addressing the original cause. It's like it's still working on, it's like switching around the effects for the symptoms, but you're not getting to the cause. Where if, for example, you feel horrible inside, and that's why you're eating a lot, using willpower to stop eating unhealthy and like changing that is good, but you're still not addressing that cause of, hey, why do you feel like shit in the first place?
Yeah.
The same with like for me, it was like, success with women. I'm going to work on myself, and maybe when I have like all this success and I'm confident, I'll be happy. And it's like, yeah, it's better than nothing, but it's like, why are you not happy in the first place? If you're working on even hustle, it's like, well, why are you not inspired to hustle in the first place? If you're always hustling, running away from, say, pain, it's still another form of escape. So that would be like to reach level two. It's level one, willpower, et cetera, is an awesome fucking tool, but you need to realize that it is not the destination. There is still to reach level two. It's like you need to get to that cause there. So it's like eating healthy, but then at the same time examining, hey, why am I not inspired to get healthy in the first place? Why am I not inspired to go to the gym in the first place? Why do I need willpower for this? So for me, it was kind of reflecting on that. Like awareness is just, helps a lot. Like that's step one, obviously. And then just kind of diving into like, okay, well, what's this? Where does this come from? What sensations do I experience when I think about being healthy? If there's like resistance, for example, it's not aligned with the self-concept I bought into. It's like, whoa, like, why is there resistance? Why am I bought into this self-concept? Where did this come from? What's so bad about letting go of the self-concept? What's so bad about being healthy? And then just kind of processing all that. And yeah, there's a lot of like just deserving, like a big one is we just don't deserve it. The same with success with women or success in general. It's like we don't deserve it, So yeah, I mean that would be like the general framework. It's like don't forget to get to that cause, and then there's like many ways of like processing that or releasing that. I have a video. If you're watching this, I recommend checking out. Just do Julien How to Let Go. That's a process I use. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's like we never, ever get to that cause. If you want to go even deeper, like this is, in my opinion, like the most like mind-blowing thing. I mean, let's just say this is, if there was one piece of advice, like right now, say I died and I could leave one thing behind, it would be this. It's this cause, if you think about it, it applies to say working out, but even the way we live life. You can always ask yourself, like, what is driving you? And this is the question. Is it abundance or scarcity? Is it happiness or unhappiness? And I like to do it where, say there's abundance up here, scarcity is down here. To know what's driving you, to know if you're coming from the right place, let's just say, ask yourself, what happens if I stop doing whatever I'm doing? Do you think you're going to fall into scarcity or just, drift up to abundance, let's just say? And a lot of us, we think we're going to fall to scarcity. And it kind of goes against a lot of the advice you hear for that level one of personal development, where, I say this, like, just, realize you're already happy. And the question is, well, if I'm already happy, why would I work? Why would I hustle? Why would I be successful? Why would I make money? Why would I be in shape? And then you have to come to terms where, hey, if you're trying to be in shape, successful, so on and so forth, because you think you need to run away from something, run towards something else, that's another escape. It's like you need to basically come to terms with the fact that you don't need anything, and then trust that once you don't need anything, you will be inspired to do something, but coming from a different place, coming from abundance versus running away from something. So this goes really, it's like challenges everything you hear, and it's nuanced. You can think it goes against hustle, but not really. It's like you can hustle from abundance as well. You just need to move everything over, like all those tools, to the right paradigm, and that's like achieving level 2.
Damn, that's very deep and super insightful, man. That's like something that probably one of the best concepts I ever heard in the field of personal development. And we don't have a lot of information on this because one reason why we don't have a lot of information on this, that's just my kind of observation, is that everything is surface level. Not everything, but almost everything is surface level. The books that we are getting right now, the guy sits down and writes a book in 6 months, or he just never goes through something that is really uh, forcing him to retreat and to really look deep inside. And then only when you look deep inside can you actually draw out a concept like that, because this probably took you like years of like just hammering on, like compounding all these little ideas and then going through a pain process. And then, I mean, these are some of the things that you can't even understand logically, right? You have to kind of embody it emotionally, and looking at, I guess the guys, I mean, a lot of guys watching these videos, they love science and things like that. Okay, here's a bit of science, right? Habits don't change through logic, they change through emotion. Your behavior doesn't change through logic, it changes through emotion. Emotion is the thing that is actually changing your habits and behavior, right? And one thing, you can't win an emotional argument with logic, an emotional argument with yourself, right? So you're trying to win that with logic and saying, okay, I should go to the gym, but the should is not the same thing as I truly want to be this person, or I want to become greater, or I'm already happy with what I am, but I already want to, I kind of want to see what's up, I want to see what's on the higher level, if I can get there, which is incredible to think about. What would be, let's say, you hammer on happiness a lot, and what's your take on happiness in general? Like there's a lot of different advice out there, like a lot of different definitions. What's your take on happiness?
Well, we can examine it through those like level 1, level 2. It's like level 1, that's where you'll hear a lot of takes. Like, okay, you're happy when you have a purpose. You're happy when you're grateful. You're happy when you're giving, so on and so forth. And again, way better than nothing. However, it still doesn't touch on that cause, because your happiness is dependent on something. You're depending on a purpose to be happy. And in a way, if you want to link it to what we were talking about before, your purpose then becomes an escape. It's like a lot of us, we're not inspired to have an authentic purpose. It's like we're just grasping onto anything to run away from unhappiness. So that's like level 1. It's like, do whatever to feel better than just horrible. However, address the cause to why do you feel horrible in the first place. And true happiness, or even true abundance, is realizing you're already there. And that's the journey of self-help. It's not you getting from down here to up here. It's the process of you already being up here and just getting rid of everything that's telling you you're down here. So you're still going out, you're still hustling, you're still working on yourself, but it's coming from a very different place. It's coming from that knowing that I'm up here. And that's happiness. It doesn't depend on anything. It's like our default, if you
Why do
will.
we get unhappy? Like, why do we get unhappy in the first place?
You go even deep on
Like,
that.
why do we forget this? Like, why would you just tell it's natural? Like, it should happen. Why do we forget it?
Yeah. Conditioning. Just the way we're conditioned. It's like, you've probably heard this. There's that saying in self-help. It's like, we're born whole and then we get wounded. It's true. It's like, we're born whole. It's like, you're born happy. Now, it depends on different takes. Like, you could even go as deep as being like, maybe not necessarily if your birth was traumatic, then you weren't born happy. But like, when you come into the world, that's your default. And then through the process of like socialization, like there's different parts of you where you just kind of like suppress them. It's like, say, you say something that's, offends, for example, your parents as a kid. They're like, you can't do that. They're like, oh, that is bad. That's not me. And as you start kind of developing an ego, and because of that, it's like, oh, well, that's not me. You can never truly accept yourself. So there's always part of you that you hate inside of you. And that's what kind of starts that escapism. So that's the way that we're conditioned, and we never just think about it. We never reflect on it. We're not taught to learn to accept ourselves. We're not taught to, bring all that stuff that we've suppressed up to the surface and go through it. We're just taught to escape constantly, or just keep shoving it down. And society thrives on escapism. It's like consumer mindset, like keep buying more shit. And yeah, it's like that's just the way it kind of happens. Like that's our default. But we can kind of prove to ourselves, like through different processes, like that video, how to, like, oh, you can kind of prove yourself in the moment. You won't achieve like maybe like true, abundance, but you realize like just through like accepting and just through breath, you feel a lot better. So it kind of gives you the proof where, oh, it's maybe not adding more, maybe it's not continuing this endless rat race. It's realizing I'm already there. And to go even deeper, like this would be like my definition of happiness or enlightenment. It's that knowing that you're there, that knowing that your default is happiness, abundance. And then from there, and this is again where people confuse it, you think enlightenment's happy all the time, but what is wanting to be happy all the time? It's that escape from not wanting to feel pain. So it's still an escape. So enlightenment is, you're abundant, and then you go through the world knowing that that's your default through inspiration, not desperation.
Would you say that confidence would be, let's say, is kind of like an automatic side effect of just kind of getting rid of peeling off those things, and just automatically kind of just become confident? Because people a lot of times focus on confidence, and we don't look at happiness the way you kind of looked at it, because we think happiness is something outside of there, something
Yeah.
outside of the body. So would you say that kind of confidence kind of take care of itself once you know that this you're just happy, right? I mean, by
Yeah.
default.
Yeah. It's like you don't need to do confidence. You don't need to do happiness. It's like that
Yeah.
is, But then again, it's like the nuanced point where if you're someone who's like not confident at all, getting different experiences or getting different things externally that make you feel confident, or for example, having a purpose or working on something, now you feel a little bit more alive, confident. It's a lot better than nothing, but it's still not confusing that with the destination. Like that's cool. It's better than nothing. And it will allow you, to feel a little better, maybe to attack the cause, but then you still need to get that cause to, hey, why are you not confident in the first place? Because anything too that's basically, even here's how it goes even wackier. It's like even you working on becoming confident is constantly reinforcing that you're not
Yeah.
confident to begin with.
Yeah.
It's entrenching you in that paradigm there,
Wow. Yeah.
and it's investing more and more too in that paradigm.
It's a vicious loop. Yeah, it's always adding more investment in something. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back a little bit to because you
Well, what I want to say just
go
at
ahead.
the end, what's pretty cool here too is similar to me, kind of what I experienced with success with women, where it's like you kind of the cool thing with success with women is, especially for guys, it's like if we're not feeling fulfilled, if we're not feeling like we're happy or enough or complete, it's very easy to think, okay, it's because I don't have the girls. Another one's like fitness, another one's like money. So with success with women, it's like you realize very fast, like you start getting the girls and you realize like it didn't work. So it eliminates those excuses, because for most guys, it's like, well, okay, I'm not there yet, but it's because I don't have the girls, and there's nothing I can do about it. They go through their lives that way. But
Yeah.
here you get the girls, they're like, fuck, it didn't work, and you have to reach that point where you kind of hit like a life crisis where it forces you to examine those basic paradigms. The same with fitness. It's like you start working on your body, and I'm sure now it's like if you're watching this, you probably achieved a lot of the goals. You're like, man, once I only got that six pack, I'll be happy, and then you get it, and it's still more, and you realize like it's compulsive. It's continually compulsive because you didn't get to that foundation. It's not coming from the right foundation. You didn't get to the cause. And even now with business and the internet and a lot of focus on like entrepreneurs and hustle, more and more people are accomplishing more. So it's eliminating those excuses. And we're kind of entering into this phase where more and more people are realizing like it didn't work. It's like we've so zoned into the art of accomplishment that we've totally, forgotten about the art of enjoyment, or the art of like, hey, being fulfilled in the first place. So I think we're kind of doing this like, there's more focus that's going to come to this.
There's a shift. Yeah, there's a shift happening where people are realizing all these external things that were kind of promised, I guess, don't work,
Yeah.
because guys are working, and women as well. I mean, people are working so hard on getting these things, and they're getting them, right? I mean, we're getting them. We're making more money. We're getting the six pack, right? There's information is abundant, and that's why we're getting better results than ever in the history, right? But we then finally realize, oh shit, it's not about one
Yeah.
extra percent of body fat less. It's always about something else. You can never be shredded enough, right? That's the thing there. I want to bring it to your journey of just changing your body and your body transformation, and some of the changes that you've noticed, because you're a guy who is who I believe is one of the people, like one of the few people that I know has really good self-awareness. So you know what's going on, right? What happened when you changed your body, right? What happened with the mind? Like, because that's always we say, okay, yeah, healthy body, healthy mind, but we know never really
Yeah.
grasp the concept. What's happening there? What happened with you?
Yeah. So some of the benefits, like, I mean, I know one probably a lot of people are asking is like in terms of like girls, like, does it help with girls? And in reality, no. Like, I mean, I experience no difference in terms of like girls, but what I do like the biggest difference is before being healthy, a lot of my willpower or mental RAM, let's just say, was dedicated to keeping myself alive and energized. So it was like this constant effort of being like, okay, let's fucking do it. Let's fucking like be alive, be alive, be alive. Because I was compensating for, not being healthy, kind of like being out of weight and not having the stamina. So I needed to use mental willpower and RAM to have that stamina. And now that I'm healthy, it's kind of like, well, my default's a lot higher. So it frees up all that extra mental RAM to do other things. So
Mm-hmm.
that is the biggest one. And I will say though, in terms of like just these are some funny ones. I thought I was over it. Like, you know, I was getting all the girls, and I thought, oh yeah, I don't care about my looks. But there were a couple times where, now I'd be way more down, for example, to go to the beach or to do like these kind of extreme outdoorsy activities that before I'd kind of hold back on. And I'd rationalize like, oh, it's just not for me. Now that I'm like, it's totally for me. This is fucking awesome. So those were, I guess, a couple times where there were those insecurities that still kicked in a bit.
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
used to hate taking pictures, going to the beach. I was like the guy with like with the fucking shirt on, and I was like, okay, don't look at me. I'm not here. I'm here, but I'm not
Yeah.
here. And you don't realize these things until you actually like see, okay, well, why am I hiding this? Now there's no more reasons for. And yeah, it's awesome, man. Great to hear from you. And one final question, I'm gonna let you go. I know you're a super busy guy on a world tour right now. Um, I'm gonna ask you a question that is a little bit, I guess, unconventional. Do you celebrate enough? And what do I mean by that, right? When you achieve something, and this is something that I ask right now, that is something I'm working on, so I'm asking everybody, do you celebrate tiny successes during the day enough? Like, do you celebrate? Are you the kind of like, give me an example of myself. Like, I achieve a PR in the gym, and I'm thinking, okay, what's the next weight? You know, I hit the goal on my weight scale or something. Okay, what's next? I never really say to myself, okay, great fucking job, right? You did a great job right now. Do you celebrate enough?
Yeah. I actually, if you asked me this, fuck man, even a year ago, I'd be like, no, because
Yeah.
I've got head down, just like hustle next, next, next. But the more I've kind of brought awareness to exactly what we talked about here, like what's that foundation? It's less compulsive now. So it's like it's no longer there's that need where it's like I can actually allow myself to take a break and I don't feel guilty. I can allow myself to go eat and just kind of go over my calories once, totally fine. I allow myself to like be like fuck yeah, and I don't think it's going to take away from my willpower or I'm falling to that foundation.
It's funny
um
because this is like we haven't talked about this ever before, and we kind of came to the same conclusion that you actually
yeah,
have to celebrate. There's no way around it, Otherwise, it's always gonna be next. It's always next.
but that's what I like. It's like well, even I like that word celebrate because you could even link whatever you're doing. It's like, are you doing it to escape something, or is it compulsive? Or is it like a celebration? Because even like, say, eating unhealthy for most people, it's like, oh, it's like escape those shitty feelings. But that doesn't mean, for example, now that you're working on your health, you can never eat unhealthy. But you have to ask yourself, are you doing it to run away from something, or is it just a form of celebration? You know. So it's like, is it celebrate? Yeah, it's celebrate. However, that can also turn into
Yeah,
rationalization. Like,
it
I'm
can
sorry.
turn it. It's a very nuanced, so we're not gonna get into like reinforcing
Yeah.
behavior. I'm just gonna link it quick back for like guys watching this. When we talk about habits and how emotions change habits, well, the fastest way to change your habits is to actually celebrate when you go through a healthy habit, right? You have to celebrate, and that's gonna amplify how fast you internalize the habit. So as I said, emotions change habit, not logic. So you can do millions of reps of certain things. It might work eventually. You could turn it into a habit, but until you actually start celebrating it, unless you do like what I do right now, if you film me with a camera in the morning, like my feet touch the floor, and I'm like, it's gonna be a great day, right? I just fail in a split second.
Yeah.
I exit the gym, and I'm like, damn, it was a great workout, right? I managed to get to the gym. Bam! I just do those little behaviors. I can tell you right now that what's changing, and I'm sure you can resonate with this. I'm gonna wrap it up. Is that my selective focus is changing because let's say someone spills coffee on you in Starbucks, and you're like, you're seeing everything that is wrong with the world. Like all of a sudden, you see everything that is bad, right? Because your selective focus is now shifted toward like, okay, what's wrong? But when you start
Yeah.
celebrating with these little things, your selective focus is now, damn, there's so many things to celebrate about, and it's like kind of like a ripple effect, and you're just increasing your baseline happiness. I'm sure you've seen this happen a billion times.
Yeah, celebrating and also laughing more throughout the day, or just laughing in general. Like if you're someone who just never laughs, like you gotta allow yourself to laugh. Like there's this weird image that we have of like successful people who are just always serious and always disciplined, and that's not the truth. Like the behind the scenes is you're just fucking around all the time. It's like you're happy, you're laughing. It's like you're just there's that thriving attitude behind it.
Yeah, yeah, awesome, man. Great topics here. We covered a lot of good ground. I'm gonna link, as I said, to your channels in the description below, as well as you're gonna find Julian's comment somewhere among the comments as well, so you can check that out. Upvote that so his comment stays up there. Check out his channel, Julian himself. Uh, deep stuff, right? This is for guys who want to go deep. This is not if you're just looking for the next instant gratification hit, dopamine, like release and just screw that. This is for guys who want to go deep, who want to really explore themselves, what their perspective is about, what the world is really about. And I want to thank you for coming on. Great having you here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on here.
And
Yeah,
we
and thanks for
definitely
the games.
we definitely have to do more of these. Hopefully, we run each other at some country I don't even know, because you're on a world tour. I'm kind of on a world tour as well, and that's why it was so hard to get this call, because we're always in some weird country. It's like we're never in the same place, right? That's
Yeah,
it's incredible.
time zones, events, just hotel price. Yeah,
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, man, thanks again for coming on. And guys, hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to hit that subscribe button below for more videos coming your way. And make sure to check out Julian's channel for sure. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.